What's going on, everybody? Welcome to the channel. So good to have you here. So, wanted to give my full review for the movie Wuthering Heights. I got to see it last night, did a straight out of theater reaction, but I wanted to sit down and give my full review, especially since now I go back and look at it, it looks as though my straight out of theater reaction that I didn't like the movie. And that's not the case. I thought it was good. I thought it was okay. Better than okay. I thought it was good. So this is why I wanted to give my full review, because my reasons behind why I didn't feel like it was a strong movie have a lot to do with the book, but there's also some things about this movie that made this film only okay. But like with all reviews, I'm going to try to keep it spoiler free if possible. If I do end up spoiling anything, I will make sure to put up a spoiler alert. But with that being said, Wuthering Heights is out right now in theaters just in time for Valentine's Day. It is currently sitting at a 63% Rotten Tomatoes. So that's not bad. What is the audience score? Let me take a look at that, because now it's been out. So 63% Rotten Tomatoes. So that's really good, actually. That's better than just not bad. That's really good. And an 85% audience score. So overall, it's not being reviewed that bad. 63% Rotten Tomatoes, 85% audience score. So far, so good for this film. And that makes complete sense to me. Really quickly, stars Margot Robbie as Catherine Earnshaw, Jacob Elordi as Heathcliff, Allison Oliver as Isabel Linton, and Hong Chua as I'm sorry if I said your name wrong, Nellie Dean, Owen Cooper as Heathcliff, young Heathcliff, Charlotte Merlington as Catherine Earnshaw young, and Martin Clunes as Earnshaw, the dad. Directed by Emerald Fennell, and we're going to start there because it was directed by Emerald Fennell, and she has a couple of very popular films in regards to reviews, in regards to watches, and Hollywood buzz. The first one for sure would be Promising Young Woman, but then she followed Promising Young Woman with Saltburn. Both movies got a lot of buzz in Hollywood, and I didn't get to see them, so I can't speak on them, but they have done fairly well in regards to critics and what people think of the film, these movies. So when it was announced that she was doing this movie, there was a lot of high expectations and high hopes because she had done so well in these last two films, at least according to, all the buzz that her last two films got and all the rave reviews and awards and so on and so forth that her last two films got. So coming in hot with this film, right? And of course, then you attach Margot Robbie and you attach Jacob Elordi, and you're like, boom, this should be great. So I'm going to start with, like I always do, what I liked, and then I'll go into what I didn't like. So what I liked. Cinematography is phenomenal. It is shot beautifully. Some of the scenes are breathtaking. Like it's shot really well. The colors work, the setting works, the landscaping, the lighting, everything is shot very well. Fantastic. It was a beauty to look at, the film. The acting is great. I'll start with the young characters. I thought that both young Heathcliff and young Catherine did a great job of capturing young people foolishly in love, but also friends, also growing up. They just was a cool young couple to watch. Martin Clunes, I think, as Earnshaw was diabolical. Hong Chua as Nellie was also diabolical. Honestly, that's another thing I liked about this movie, is one thing that they did well in this film in regards to adaptation from the book is you're not a fan of any of these people. And in the book, you're not either. In the book, you're not either. And they did a good job of making really bad people worth watching. Allison Oliver as Isabella, I think, steals every scene that she's in. as the sister. She steals every scene that she's in. She was fantastic. But then, of course, Margot Robbie and Jacob Elordi, their chemistry carries the movie. There was never a moment in the movie that I was not glued to it. Like, I was entertained watching this film from frame to frame, and watching the two of them together. It's clear that they had chemistry and it worked. And the two of them are great together. I'm telling you, Jacob Elordi has, in my opinion, has had two back to backs that I've seen from him. One being Frankenstein, and now this. What a great job! The acting is great. In regards to the film itself, it was surprisingly funny. A film that's full of a lot of dark moments. There was a lot of levity and comedy that I didn't expect, and I enjoyed it. And again, the sister is hilarious, and she steals every scene that she's in. I loved her, but not Margot Robbie too. So there was some fun or jokes made, and even some really dark moments that made sense, and they landed and it worked. I actually like the score and the soundtrack. It's like a blend of period music, but also more recent music. And for some people that might rub them the wrong way, it didn't for me. I thought it was blended very well to where it wasn't a distraction having modern day music and a period piece. I actually thought it worked, especially for some of the more steamy scenes. I thought having that modern music and a period piece made sense. So those are all the things I like. The cinematography, the way it was shot, the acting was fantastic. The comedy that was there was great. And the chemistry between the two leads, fantastic. All right. So what didn't I like? I didn't know this. I didn't notice this until a friend pointed this out to me, because once the movie was announced that it was coming out, I kind of stayed away from news about it, because it was one of the films I was looking forward to seeing. Like, I love this story. I love Wuthering Heights. I've read the book because I read it not in school. I read it as a research because I played Heathcliff in the play. And so I read the book as research. I love the story. I love the black and white with Laurence Olivier. Like, I love this film, this project. So I wanted to go into this movie not knowing a lot about it outside of what I already knew. I wanted to be pleasantly surprised, hoping to get a Emily Bronte adaptation that was great and modern and new. And a friend of mine, like literally the day I was going to see the movie, was like, the reason why the title is in quotes is because it's not like a direct adaptation of Wuthering Heights. It's more like a interpretation, if you will. And I was like, I never noticed that the film was in quotes, but apparently that's what the director said. I didn't see this interview, but that's what was told to me. And once she told me that, I was like, oh, okay. And it kind of changed my expectation for going to see this film, going into this movie. And I'm so glad I had that conversation. And I'm so glad that I lowered my expectations for this movie, because if I didn't and saw what I saw, I would be way more pissed about this film than I was when I got out. Like, knowing what it was, I enjoyed it for what it was, which is definitely not a direct adaptation of the Emily Bronte book, but more of the writers and directors of this film's inspired by interpretation of Wuthering Heights. And if you are a fan of the book but can accept the fact that this isn't an actual like adaptation of the book, you might be able to enjoy it. But if you're expecting an adaptation of the book, you are going to hate this movie, despite how good it is. And that is why it was only okay. Oh, I keep saying it wasn't okay. It was good. I'm gonna give my rank it here in a minute, but that's why it wasn't better than it should have been to me. I watched some other YouTubers who I respect and enjoy their show, and they gave it high praise, but they also never read the book. And then I've watched others who read the book and completely destroyed this movie. I'm somewhere in between. I'm not going to completely destroy this movie, because I think it was very entertaining and it was a good time at the movies. But as a fan of the book, it was hard to turn that off. Here's why. And this is actually why the movie didn't work, whether you're a fan of the book or not. Some of the things that they do to me aren't earned. Some of the motivation for why they do what they do, they don't spend enough time vetting out the person. So when they act a certain way or react a certain way to certain things, it doesn't feel earned. And because it isn't earned, it feels messy on screen and rushed. Like, whoa, how'd you go from that to that so quickly? How'd you go from light to complete dark so quickly, or complete dark to light so quickly? And why would you get so mad at this? And why would you just throw that? There was a lot of whys because it felt like the character's motivation wasn't flushed out enough to be earned. And because when they react the way they react, it doesn't land. Not for me. And I'm noticing not for other people too. Like that seemed really dramatic. And it's like, well, if you know the character and you know what I know about the character, then it isn't dramatic. It's actually probably dialed down, but because of what I know. So that's where not being a true adaptation from the book hurt this movie, because some of the elements from the book are definitely in this film, but the common moviegoer who doesn't know the book isn't going to understand really why this person is acting the way they are and reacting the way they are. So because of that, it'll feel rushed, not earned, and not quite land like it should. So here's something else I didn't like, and this might be spoiler. So I'm going to throw up the spoiler alert here. But one thing I didn't like is that they made this movie about a forbidden love between Catherine and Heathcliff. And that to me bothered me because it became real tropey, right? What they do you've seen before. It became real safe, which is crazy because they advertised this 50 Shades of Wuthering Heights film that's supposed to be all hot and spicy and the must see love story of all time and blah, 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 blah. And they turn it into a film we've seen before, which was the forbidden love and, we can't be together situation. And by the way, the spice that they selling y'all on the marketing campaign is not spicy at all. Here's how I would compare it. If 50 Shades of Grey, the movie, was Twitter, Wuthering Heights is Facebook. When it comes to spice, are there scenes? Yes. Are there love scenes? Sure. Are they hot and steamy and spicy? No. Matter of fact, what you see in the trailers is about all the spice you get. I mean, yeah, sure. There is love scenes, but it's not hot and spicy. Not the way I thought it was going to be based on the advertisement. But anyways, back to what I didn't like. The story of Wuthering Heights is not a forbidden love. It's way more than that. This story is about classism, society, throw in a little racism. There's so much involved in Wuthering Heights, and the and it's about some crazy people. Like the the revenge tour that Heathcliff goes on is crazy in the book, and it goes over generations. This isn't about forbidden love. This is about people, what happens to people when they fall in love and then can't have the love that they wanted. Not, ooh, we got to be in secret because we shouldn't be doing this. No. So you took this banger of a story and just turned it to a tropey film that we've seen before. And I didn't like that. Last thing I didn't like about it is definitely because of the book. There are some key characters. This is not a spoiler, but no, it doesn't spoil the movie, but no, it's not a spoiler. There are some key characters that are definitely missing that were in this book that aren't in this film. And it completely takes away from the last thing I said. It completely takes away from why a character reacts the way they react, why a character does what they do, or what he does, what she does. Because these key characters in the book are the reason why they become what they become. And when you don't have that, then you just try to create a world around the character to make them become the way they are. And it doesn't work as well as the book that had those characters. So, with all that being said, what is my rank? So, my ranking on a scale of 1 being trash, skip this one, throw it away. 5 being it's fantastic, it's a must see. I'm going to give it a 3. Um, like I mentioned, there are some of it has to do with the fact that there are a lot from the book that's missing that could have helped this movie, but other pieces just simply stuff that was just wrong with this movie, whether it be the Hollywood tropey forbidden love that I thought was whack, or the fact that the characters' reactions and responses to situations aren't earned and they don't land because they're not vetted out enough. So for those reasons, it was a 3. Now, with that being said, should you go check it out? Listen, the theater I was in, the people in there loved it. They was talking back to the movie, clapping at certain scenes, laughing at scenes. Like, they really enjoyed it, and so did I. It wasn't bad. My 3 isn't like it was horrible. I enjoyed it. It was fun, but it wasn't Wuthering Heights, not to me, not the one I wanted to see. But I give it a solid 3 though, solid 3. So with that being said, it's Valentine's Day. Take your loved one out to see Wuthering Heights. I actually think that it's a great date movie, and I don't think you're going to walk out of the film pissed that you went to go see it. But if you miss this one, you're also not missing out on much, and you could check it out when it comes available on streaming services at home with your loved one in bed, where some of that Facebook steam shows up. Who knows? You might get motivated for evening. But it won't be, it's not Twitter, just FYI. But with that being said, what do you all think? Did you check out the film? Does this review help? Would love to hear your thoughts in the comments. Thanks so much for watching. Do me a favor. If you like the content, don't forget to click that like button and subscribe. And hit that little alarm button as well so you can get alerted whenever I post new content. And also, do me a favor, share with other people who you think would like this content as well. We have a big goal of 1,000 subscribers we're trying to get to, and we need your help. Appreciate it. Till the next one. Peace.